G'day. Do excuse me while I slip into something more comfortable. There. Much better. Well, how are you all? Are you all well? Thank you all for being here. Thank you everyone who watched my live video on the 23rd of December of last year and were considerate enough to actually listen to what I was saying and express concern for my well-being over the festive period, as it were. As you see, I have survived. Thanks largely in part to people like you who listen. So thank you for your kindness. Today is the 7th, still, just by a couple of minutes, 7th of January. So yesterday was the 6th, which is Epiphany. It's the 12th day of Christmas, the 6th of January. And in Ireland, it's Little Christmas or Women's Christmas. The 12th day is meant to be when the Magi arrived with their gifts and things in the myths. So technically that makes it the 13th day of Christmas, doesn't it? Lucky for some, and I'm indeed lucky, because here I am, still. So, you know what they say, reach out and touch someone. Fortunately, I reached out and someone listened. Just when I thought there was no one left to listen. So, having survived the festive period that was like really awful and then really wonderful and then hideously awful all within the space of like a week, I ended up driving myself to hospital last week on the Thursday. Drove myself to hospital from my new waitressing job where I had got the waitressing job over Christmas, not really because of the money, because it wasn't great money, but really just to keep myself occupied. It was my attempt, because I have PTSD, which is triggered particularly at this time of the year because I'm so very, very far away from my family and my adult children back in Australia. I thought I will keep myself engaged and very busy. I'll go and look for a bit of bar work or something. And what I ended up doing was waitressing. And it backfired badly because the work was not engaging enough to keep my mind from all the tragic memories and the traumatic memories of things that happened to me which left me with PTSD, and also very lovely people kept asking me like how I got to Ireland and what was my story and whatever, and which is very natural and normal and things, but of course once people heard that I had family back in Australia, and they all universally said, oh, it must be hard for you this time of year, and of course it is. I was struggling, but I've been struggling and struggling for months, and the people I were reaching out to weren't listening. So the old saying, tell someone who cares. I finally found someone who cared to listen to. Yeah. So reach out, and don't stop reaching out when you're feeling vulnerable. If you're feeling down and you have mental health concerns that are ongoing, or whether they're new, it doesn't matter. For God's sake, ring someone. And it's pretty hard to find anyone who actually cares in everyday life, I tell you. So, as an affirmation, as it were, I had already asked for Christmas for a tattoo voucher. All right. And I got the tattoo voucher, and what I was going to get as a tattoo was the words, friends is quite something. And I will play you the audio from the film, the 90s film Four Weddings and a Funeral, in the scene which made me think I was going to get friends is quite something. Okay? Here we go.
You like this girl, don't you?
Yes. Yes, it's a strange thing when at last it happens. And she's marrying someone else. How about you, Fifi? You identified a future partner for life yet?
No need, Ray. Deed is done. I've been in love with the same bloke for ages.
Have you? Who's that?
You, Charlie. It's always been you. Since first we met. It was so many years ago. I knew the first moment. Across a crowded room. On the lawn, in fact. Doesn't matter. Nothing either of us can do on this one. Such is life. Friends isn't bad, you know. Friends is quite something.
Friends is quite something. And you see, as I feel that Ireland, and particularly Irishmen in particular, have offered me nothing but unrequited love for a decade and a half now, and I'm constantly trying to console myself that, having a couple of acquaintances that are entirely platonic is quite something. I thought that might be an appropriate tattoo. Also considered Such Is Life. Fiona says Such Is Life, which was also Ned Kelly's famous last words. But as much as I do admire Ned Kelly's spirit, he was going to blow up a train with lots of innocent people on board, so perhaps I don't want his last words emblazoned upon me. So, and then it occurred to me around Christmas when, I was reaching out to people in crisis for months and no one gave a shit, that Friends is Quite Something was just going on, like emblazoned on my skin, was just going to remind me that I didn't actually have any friends I could rely on at all. I don't have anyone in this entire country that I can ring at 3 o'clock in the morning in case I am in crisis. And since I have PTSD, I often have a crisis, sadly, which is not something I asked for, something I planned. And living life alone with PTSD is hell on earth. And my other tattoo, see, I have this tattoo on my forearm. I've shown it before. I have another tattoo that says, "Life is for living, the light is for later," which is all very well if your life is worth living, isn't it? But if you've got PTSD and no friends and your family 10,000 miles away, and everyone at work thinks you're an idiot and speaks to you as such, for the entire week of Christmas, it can get too much for a girl. So, but then there was a wonderful highlight over Christmas, in which on the 28th of December I went up to Sligo, and with the Sligo Comedy Club, I opened the show that was headlined by Fred Cook, and Fred Cook is a fabulous and wonderful, hilarious, kind human being, and he resurrected my joie de vivre. And it was sort of like a very beautiful sort of closure, because I've adored Fred Cook for a very long time, and a lot of his stuff in Republic of Telly I've really liked, and so it's like it came around full circle that I was actually able to meet him and work with him and have in jokes about his work. So that was lovely. So that helped me a great deal, to be around people that were treating me with kindness and as my peers. Oh, incidentally, and quite hilariously, as I was driving myself to hospital from work with chest pains, not knowing if it was just because I have a broken heart and PTSD like attack, or if I was actually having a heart attack and I had literally no one to drive me to hospital, so I had better drive myself to hospital. I could have sworn that I saw a fellow Mayo YouTuber, Viper Higgins, in one of his personas, jogging along the highway, the N5, on the way to Castle Bar as I was going to hospital, to the ED department, not knowing if I was having a heart attack. And I thought, okay, now I really know I must be really having a nervous breakdown, because now I'm hallucinating toured off. And I thought that'd be hilarious, wouldn't it be? And again, talk about full circle. Talk about full circle. If I like my last sort of conscious memory of like my entire existence as a comedian, like rubbing shoulders with the cast of that Hardy Bucks here and there across like my entry into Irish comedy, largely facilitated by the synchronicity of being in the Hardy Bucks sphere of influence, basically. And I'm on the way to hospital thinking I'm both going mad like Virginia Woolf and having a heart attack, and this might be the end of it all. And there's the Viper Higgins running along near Ballyverry with his beautiful Arctic wolf eyes and a handsome mustache. And maybe I did hallucinate him. I have no idea if he was real or not. I hope he was, and I hope he's out there being fabulous wherever he is. So anyway, having survived all that, and having had the tattoo voucher, and having decided I was not going to have Such Is Life or Friends Is Quite Something, because I don't really want to be all noble and glib, and I can live without it, and romantic love isn't all. It's supporting each other is all very well and good if you're being supported by anyone, but when you're not, it's just going to rub salt in the wound, really, literally. So then I thought, well, I was thinking about Eliza Doolittle and Henry Higgins, not Henry Higgins, but who's the man that she wants to go off? Freddie. There you go. So Eliza Doolittle is courted by a man called Freddie, and Freddie has very loads of fine words, but doesn't actually do anything about it. And I'm also like a coulda, woulda, shoulda, because my mind is so scrambled by trauma and anxiety, PTSD, and indecision, because there are so many options open to me, and I keep thinking, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? I run around in ever diminishing circles, not actually doing everything that I should be doing very well at all. So I thought, well, putting thought into action is a positive thing for New Year, right? And I thought, what's a strong suffragette slogan? So I checked out this, what is Emmeline Pankhurst, the most famous suffragettes, saying, and it is deeds, not words. And of course, a man is judged not by his words, but by his deeds alone. And I've had a lot of promises made to me by a lot of people over the years on future plans, and they have all let me down. So in future, I will only be, I'll only be spending the precious time that I have left on this planet, which almost seems not worth sticking around for. A couple of weeks ago, I'm not going to spend time with the people that are just stringing me along, just blowing sunshine up my ass and blarneying me, just kicking the can along down the road. One of these days, what we should. But then not actually being there when I need someone. That goes to all levels, professional, personal, Anyway, I quit the waitressing job. I'm sure they were relieved to see me go. They didn't even acknowledge the message, which was from hospital. And sort of on medical advice, really, because it was doing me more harm than good, and it was of no use to anybody at all. But I don't regret it, although it does seem like I am burning more bridges than I'm crossing bridges sometimes, often, I tried. I tried to avoid. I tried to avoid like a mental health crisis by engaging myself in productive, ordinary work with people, as everyone recommends, you know, and like I've trying to make a living and do well, get a bit of money to help myself be financially independent, and engage with people and be well, and nothing could have worked out worse, really. But I did try. I tried. It backfired badly. That's okay. I'm still here, and it just means that I am going to be kinder to myself, because there are kind people out there, and I'm going to spend more time on here, because thanks to people like my members, and thanks to people on Patreon, and thanks to people on other platforms who are very generous with their subscriptions and that sort of thing, I can get by, basically, as a creator on YouTube, for which I'm extremely grateful. So I will just spend more time on here, and I will start doing things that are like interesting to look at as well. Plus more comedy and stuff. I've got lots of stuff coming up. Oh, and you'll never guess where I'm off to in March. You'll never guess. I'll give you a hint. I'll give you a hint where I'm going in March. The stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of... Yeah, I'm off to Texas in March. I'll give you more details about that later on. But in the meantime, this is my new tattoo. Look, right above my triple Celtic spiral. Deeds, not words. So I'm going to keep myself accountable as well. Try and carry through on my intentions, because you know what they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and I've had good intentions for a while, and Jesus Christ, have I been in hell. Just one day at a time, sweet Jesus. But thanks for sticking by me, and I'll see you when you got nothing on.